All right, it's day one, and we gotta get this shit right off the bat because you're going to have to learn in this sucker free life how to start saying no. So, today's title, super simple. No is a full ass motherfucking sentence, okay? Like, okay, let's just bring this into the physical realm. Take a moment and nod your head up and down like you're saying yes. Yes to love, yes to joy, yes to all that beautiful shit. Now take a moment and nod your head side to side like you're saying no. You know, to fuck boys, fuck girls, fuck jobs, fuck thought, fuck situations. Take a moment now and say yes and no at the same time. So nod your head yes and no at the same time. If you're doing it, you look as stupid as I do because you can't fucking do it. You can never say yes and no at the same time, right? Start there. Like, that's it. That means every time you're saying yes to one thing, you are inherently saying no to something else. And because of our design, we typically end up saying yes to something else and no to our motherfucking self more often than not. I call that playing side bitch to yourself. Because see, we tend to think that I can just go ahead and say yes to this person and help them out and you know I got me. So I have all of this endless energy and endless resources and they can't figure it out or I gotta hold their shit or whatever it is because we can speak to our strengths. But what ends up happening is you corrode your trust in yourself every time you play side bitch to yourself. Every time you say yes to someone else and that means you say no to yourself and it ends up just costing you way too much, right? So we have to we have to practice the power of our no and not package it with sweet shit, not have to explain to somebody how tired you are, how broke you are, whatever the fuck you have to come up with, which is a good reason for why you would end up needing to tell them no. And just to realize you don't owe not near motherfucker an explanation as to why your no is a no. No is a full ass motherfucking sentence. Okay? Start there. Now, I know I come in on this like hardcore fuck everybody, no attitude shit, and that's not a good starting place for everybody. So let's talk about what do you do when you're not equipped to say no? Maybe it's because you people please. Maybe it's because you really love that person. Maybe it's because shit, you might want something from them, but in return or later or whenever, but you have to figure out your boundaries. So while we're trekking through this new territory of saying no and being confident in our no, maybe we introduce kind of the halfway point, the introduction to a no. I call this yes and, right? So the next time somebody is asking you for something and you evaluate it and you realize, I can't really afford to say this no to myself, but I'm not really confident in saying no to them. So you try the yes and. For instance, I had work to do. I have a class to teach, right? Because I'm touring, and I have a friend who's saying like, I need you. I need a ride to the airport. And I say, oh yeah, no problem. I'd love to be a service. I'd love to send you off. I want to see you have get where you're going safely. I'd love to help out, but they need to get to an airport at a time that's inconvenient for me, right? Maybe like I said, I'm teaching a class or I'm with my kids or whatever the fuck I've already said yes to I would have to break my commitment of yes to myself or the yeses that I've already committed to say yes to that other person. But this is our friend. We're not really ready to say no for whatever reason. So instead of saying no, I can't take you to the airport, you say yes. You know, I'm happy to provide for you your need. And here are the parameters of what that's going to be. Again, if it impedes with the time commitment you already have, yeah, I can take you before I go to work or after I get off. Now that's up to them to decide if before you go to work is too early, therefore they should explore some other options, or after you get off of work is too late, right? But what you've done is still be able to to offer yourself, to commit to helping them to do it, but in a way that is not to your own detriment, in a way that doesn't hold you hostage from yourself or force you to play side bitch to yourself. And then people who are asking you to say yes can evaluate if they really want it, right? So take a moment, think about that, right? If you're not ready to say no to something, how can you say yes, but to do it in a way that doesn't fuck your shit up? Right? Maybe you got time and it's not about time. Maybe it's yes, and I'm gonna need $20 on my gas. Like making sure that anytime you say yes, that you have evaluated what that saying yes means, that you are ready to empower them with your commitment, and that it's not saying no to something that is actually detrimental to you. That is our yes and. Try that shit. Now, talking about the yes and, right? Transitioning from no as a full ass sentence to yes, and this is the parameters of what it's going to take. I want to say, yes is not a bad thing. Do not let me villainize the yes, right? Yes, there's power in your yes. Yes means that you are open to the possibility of something. Yes claims that you have the power to commit yourself to something. Yes is powerful. Yes, when you say yes, you are affirming your boundaries, right? If you say yes to getting up early in the morning so that you can work on your business or so that you can meditate, you are affirming that boundary. You are affirming what it is that you are wanting to be committed to. So yes is this wonderful thing that we just have to give more thought to, and to make sure that when you're saying yes, know that the flip side means you're saying no to something else, and that you are willing to commit to what that yes is, and that yes that you're open to committing to respects your boundaries, respects your goals, respects the things that you have for yourself, right? So I'm just going to recap what we talked about today, right? You can never say yes and no at the same time. Anytime you're saying yes to one thing means you are inherently saying no to something else. When you are talking about the no, remember, no is a full ass motherfucking sentence, and you do not have to explain your no, your boundaries to not a single fucking soul. If you have a hard time saying no, remember the power of yes and. And remember, yes is not a bad thing. Yes means that you are committed to something, that you are empowering something, that you are willing to give your time, space, and energy. I want you to start adding a little bit more awareness to your yeses, to evaluate that, realizing that yes and no are the shortest fucking words in like our English language, but they require the most thought. Bring some awareness around what you're saying yes to. Understand that when you say yes to one thing, means you're saying no to something else. Start there, and you are on your way, day 1 of 5 days to sucker-free living. Congratulations.